What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. And today I'm finishing a Pro Bowl selection ballot I started probably 4 or 5 days ago at this point. I originally anticipated to upload a video sooner than I'm doing right now. You know, things seem to get in the way. I'm doing final exams right now for college. I had the other video to edit. I was doing the live day shows for the Grueling Truth. So, I had stuff to do, but now I'm back. Don't worry. We're going to finish this up. Cover the defense today. Probably not special teams because I'm down to 43% battery because I just did over an hour-long show. Go check it out on the Grueling Truth Facebook page. I do it with Sam again. It's a lot of fun. We did some quarterback power rankings, that kind of stuff. A lot of fun. But now we're going to do the defensive side of the Pro Bowl ballot, and we're going to start it right off with defensive ends. And as I said, I don't like how they've basically arranged it this year because, you can't sort by anything. I used to be able to sort by tackles, by forced fumbles, by sacks. You can't do it this year, although it is auto-sorted by sacks, which I do appreciate. It makes it much easier to find Myles Garrett. I feel like you have to go with Hendrickson as well, just because 9.5 sacks. He's had a really good year. Ogba's also had a breakout season as well, but I'm a little more – he's got 3.5. He's got 3 forced fumbles. It's kind of hard. I mean, these two guys, to me, I want to pick one breakout player. And Hyder's another guy who I thought was more classified as a defensive tackle, but he's had a breakout season as well. So it's these 3 guys. I want to take at least one of them. And I got 6 selections for every position. So here we go. I'm taking Joey Bosa as my number 2. I think these 2 guys have to be in their defensive player of the year candidates for me. They're all pro candidates for me. These 2 guys have to go to the Pro Bowl. Another guy has to be in his Cameron Jordan. This is not the best season of his career by far. It's not the best season of his career probably in the past 5 or 6 years. But this is a guy who was an all-decade team member, and he's really strive for constant professional play. And he's having a solid year, not a great year, but he's really elevated the play of everyone else along the defensive line, including Hendrickson. That's part of the reason why he has 9.5 sacks, because Cameron Jordan draws double teams all the time now. So I think Jordan is deserving of a Pro Bowl vote. Scrolling down here, I would love to give a vote to Justin Houston just because I'm a big fan of Justin Houston dating back to his Chiefs days. I would love to give a vote to J.J. Watt. I'm surprised he had Sue listed as defensive in here, not defensive tackle. I think he would stack it much better against the DTs, but a lot of guys down here I like Dexter Lawrence, to me, is more of a defensive tackle type player, even though maybe scheme-wise he's a DN technically, but he performs more like a defensive tackle. Looking through them, it's kind of limited to the top 3 rows to me, maybe even just the top 2 rows here at this point. I'm thinking Brandon Graham. I think he's super underrated. He never gets the credit he deserves for Philadelphia. He should have had at least 1 Pro Bowl season by now. I'm taking Stephon Tuitt because, he's having a career year. Of course, he's on the COVID list right now. So, he's going to miss some time. He's going to drop back a little bit here. But 7 sacks from Stephon Tuitt. He's having a breakout performance. With Bud Dupree going down with the torn ACL, he's going to be huge. He's going to have to be huge down the stretch for Pittsburgh. So, Stephon Tuitt is another one of my selections. That leaves me one more pick. I am going to go with Hendrickson over Ogba. I'm sorry about that. If I could take both those guys, I would. But instead, this is going to be my Pro Bowl ballot for defensive ends. Moving on to the guys on the interior, this is pretty easy for me. Aaron Donald's going to be one of them. I need Cameron Hayward as well. I know Cameron Hayward doesn't have the stats that are nearly as good as what he had last year or even the past 2 years maybe. I still think he's having a great season. If you look at him, how he's performed statistically, the numbers don't show his impact and how much he's done for Stephon Tuitt, for Bud Dupree, for T.J. Watt. The kind of pressure he applies to the middle is crucial. I think he's going to have an even larger role to play now that Bud Dupree is out and Stephon Tuitt is on the COVID list. Looking around the league, it's really hard. There are a lot of guys here who are usually perennial Pro Bowlers. Guys like Fletcher Cox, Chris Jones, Akeem Hicks is there, Calais Campbell's here. There's so many players. Quentin Williams had a great breakout season. Grady Jarrett is usually a Pro Bowler. Jeffrey Simmons, DeForest Buckner. I take DeForest Buckner. I'm sorry. I take him over everyone else. I know that a lot of good players here. There are players down maybe 3 or 4 lines here on this thing that I would consider putting in the Pro Bowl. There really have been a lot of guys here. Even someone like Kenny Clark doesn't have the best statistics this year. I think he's also dealt with a little bit of injuries, stuff like that. But then, there are guys on this list. The old veteran, Geno Atkins, of course. There's just a lot of guys who are deserving of Pro Bowl selections here. I'd take Leonard Williams as well. 6 sacks. This is best he's done since 2014, maybe 2016. It's been a while since he's gotten to this peak before. Fletcher Cox, of course. I think Fletcher Cox is not having as good of a year as he has had in the past. I still think he's going to be worthy of a Pro Bowl bid. Chris Jones, I think he's another one. Sack total is always a monster. One of the best sack artists at this position, maybe outside of Aaron Donald. Those are my guys. I think Quentin Williams is also deserving, though. I think you can make an argument for Quentin Williams. I think you can make an argument for Calais Campbell despite him missing some time. Grady Jarrett. I apologize, I'm rushing through this a little bit. I am on 39% battery, so I do have to do this a little bit quicker because this does eat my battery pretty quickly. Inside linebacker, Devin White, Levante David, no sweat. Eric Kendricks is also going to be there. Mario Davis is another one. Bobby Wagner is another one. That leaves me one vote. There are a lot of really good inside linebackers here. Roquan Smith does not have the highest efficiency of an inside linebacker. I still think he'd be worthy of a Pro Bowl bid. I think Zach Cunningham could be worthy of a Pro Bowl bid. Blake Martinez is not very good in coverage, but he's done really well actually for the Giants, surprisingly well for them at this point. And scrolling on the list, Patrick Queen, he's got the numbers, but I don't know if he's been as efficient as they would hope him to be. Tremaine Edmonds as well. Fred Warner is hard to pass up. I got to go Darius Leonard. I know he's missed time, but this dude is so freaking good. This is like a Patrick Willis type player, a guy who will have tackles for years and years. He's just going to be fantastic. This guy, when I think about a young player who has Hall of Fame potential, I am dead serious when I say Darius Leonard to me is one of the first guys that comes to mind. I think he's fantastic. It's just a shame, though, because Fred Warner, to me, is the biggest omission here, probably that I've had the entire list so far. Vander Esch would be as well if Vander Esch was just healthy the entire time. He hasn't been. Ordinarily, I would have him in the Pro Bowl as well. But Fred Warner, to me, it's hard to pass up on him. I'm almost tempted to take my vote from Devin White and give it to Fred Warner. But I think Devin White's got the 5 sacks, and to me, that kind of puts him over the top. I'm going to leave both Tampa Bay linebackers in and skip on Zach Cunningham and Fred Warner for now. All right, well, this is pretty easy. I would vote for Bud Dupree just because I'm a homer and I'm a Steelers fan, but he's out for the year, so they're going to remove him from this ballot probably. That makes it a little bit simpler. But T.J. Watt's obviously one guy. Tre'Davious Smith is another. I'm giving JPP the vote this year. I think he deserves it. He's really done a great job coming back from the hand injury. And, he's been a consistent pass rusher the past 2 or 3 years. It's just that I don't think he's been at a Pro Bowl level until this season when he's really having a breakout year, really solidifying that defensive line and stepping up in place of Shaquille Barrett, who has not had as good of a year as he did last season. Looking down the list, as I said, I'd probably vote Bud Dupree just because I'm a Steelers fan and because he's had a really good year, a career year again after having a career year last season. But he's not going to be in this ballot much longer. Bradley Chubb deserving for sure. Looking around the list, Matt Judon was a Pro Bowler last year, but he has not played as much this year and he's not been as good. Cole Mack, I would ordinarily say would be a lock for this list, but he's been kind of average in Chicago. Shaq Barrett, the same thing in Tampa Bay, been kind of average compared to what he did last season, especially. Preston Smith was really good last year. It has not been the same this year. KJ Wright's listed as outside linebacker here, but he's not really a pass rusher outside linebacker. These guys who are 4-3 outside linebackers, they're not charged with rushing the passer. These guys are more pass coverage, run stopping. Guys like Miles Jack as well, Jalen Smith. So you're going to put them in here with this category, and it just doesn't look good for them. Guys like Yannick Ngakoue, Robert Quinn have been really good in the past, but not so much this year. I don't think that's actually right. I don't think those stats are right for Yannick Ngakoue, I'm pretty sure, but maybe they are. It doesn't look right to me, actually. But if I'm going to scroll back up, I got 2 more votes. Bud Dupree's not going to make it. Leonard Floyd, his stats are kind of inflated based on a couple of games that he's been really good. I'll go Khalil Mack. And you know what? I'm tempted to go like someone like Van Noy, trying to throw a little bit of a curveball into this, but really, I'm going to give it to Barrett anyways. I'm just going to roll here. I know there's some name brand picks, really. These are no surprising selections here. Nor do I try to throw 1 or 2 curveballs in. But to me, this is one of the more straightforward positions in the NFL right now. There's not a ton of depth there either. For me, I value 3-4 outside linebackers who rush the passer over 4-3 outside linebackers who don't do that much because they're, like I said, primarily charged with pass coverage and stopping the run. So it's a little bit different in those assignments. Well, I like the pass rushers more. I think it's what the outside linebacker position is supposed to represent in this category. I would much rather classify 4-3 outside linebackers as inside linebackers just for the sake of comparing stats to guys who have similar stat numbers. This Pro Bowl ballot has always been wacky the way they've done it. They had guys like Levante David listed as an outside linebacker in the past, and Levante David would never get enough votes to make the Pro Bowl because he doesn't have the sack totals. But if you listed Levante David as an inside linebacker for the entirety of his career on the Pro Bowl ballot, he would have 5 or 6 Pro Bowls already. And it's just a shame that they haven't figured out a better way to do this. All right, corner. J.C. Jackson definitely won. Xavier Howard definitely won. And then it gets kind of crazy from here. I'm giving Williams a bid just because he's played really well up to this point in the year. And I know that's kind of the underrated, sexy pick, I guess you'd say right now, is to put Williams in. I think he does deserve it. I do think a little bit is the hype train kind of building him up, but I do believe he deserves to be in the Pro Bowl and have his accomplishments recognized because he hasn't had that to this point. And so he deserves that. Going down the list, Tre'Davious White's here, Jay Alexander's here, Stephon Gilmore's here. Where's Jalen Ramsey? I'm looking for Jalen Ramsey right now. That's the guy I know I have to put in. Marshall Lattimore's here. There's Jalen Ramsey. He has to go. Uh, at this point, it's kind of toss up. None of these guys down here are really going to cut it. If I'm up here looking around, James Bradbury has a really good year for the Giants right now. He's been a huge part of that defense. I'm going to give him a nod. And then it comes down to, do I find Marlon Humphrey somewhere in here? Do I give it to Marcus Peters? And Marlon Humphrey's right here. 6 forced fumbles. I'm going to give it to him. He's a turnover forcing machine. Maybe he's not even the best guy in terms of pass coverage. I know Marcus Peters can get a bit, but he's also had his fair share of mistakes in man-to-man coverage this year. Same thing with Patrick Peterson. Those guys are not necessarily living up to the man-to-man coverage they maybe played earlier in their careers, but at this point, I think you could still vote those guys to the Pro Bowl. My ballot's just going to look a little bit different because I'm going to prioritize guys like Williams and Bradbury over some of the traditional names like Tre'Davious White, like it's Marcus Peters, or Patrick Peterson. Although I'm pretty sure Tre'Davious White will probably get in as well. Jair Alexander's there too. I really feel like I need to get Jair a vote. So you know what? I'm going to take one away from J.C. Jackson. I mean, how much does he play really outside? I'm going to take one away from Bradbury, even though I feel like he's deserving this year. I'm going to give it to Jair Alexander because I know he's had a really good year in coverage, a really improved year. So I'm going to switch that up. But to me, I think there's probably 7. Now, there's probably going to be like 8 or 9 corners who are deserving of a full bid this year. You only have 6 to vote, though, so you're going to end up leaving some guys maybe have Bradbury or Peters out. All right, strong safety. I'm taking Buda Baker. And I just have to scroll on and see because they seem to change who's classified as what pretty much every year. I don't know if it's just the NFL.com Pro Bowl ballot doing that or if it's the actual rosters of the NFL teams. It feels like the spots shift constantly, and it's kind of frustrating. And Tyrann Mathieu, I would ordinarily have classified as a free safety in previous seasons, but now it looks like he's playing strong safety, or at least listed as a strong safety here. So that's a little bit surprising, but I'm definitely taking Tyrann Mathieu, by the way. He definitely deserves it. The Honey Badger is a sick dude. He's awesome. I'm also taking Jamal Adams, despite the fact he's missed quite a few games at this point, because he has 6.5 sacks. He's been arguably the best pass rusher. He has been the best pass rusher for Seattle this year, and he's holding them together. And that's one of the reasons why the defense for Seattle has improved so much in the past couple of weeks is because he's getting healthier. He's getting in better shape. He's getting more acclimated to the team again. So I feel like Jamal Adams has to be in definite lock here. Same thing with Harrison Smith. Even though he's getting up there in age, to me, this is still a guy who's going to be a fringe Hall of Fame player. Probably won't make it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's going to make it. He probably won't. But I love Harrison Smith since his time at Notre Dame. This dude is great. He's fantastic. And I want him in the Pro Bowl this year. All right, 2 more votes. This is going to be tricky. Because I guarantee, like, Kareem Jackson. I really want to vote Kareem Jackson. I really want to vote Jordan Boyer. Eddie Jackson's up here. Jonathan Abrams, too. There are a bunch of guys. Adrian Amos, Malcolm Jenkins. There are a lot of names I recognize here. There are a lot of players who probably would be deserving of a Pro Bowl vote. I just don't know. Jordan Fuller. You know what? Jordan Fuller, local kid here in New Jersey. My high school football team played against him once in the state tournament and got destroyed. Of course, he went on to play at Ohio State. I'm going to give him a nod just because, you know what? 3 interceptions. He got those 2 against Tom Brady. You know, great player, great rookie. Way overperforming where he was drafted. Good thing for him. I'm happy for Jordan Fuller. I'm going to give him a Pro Bowl vote, even if it's a little bit of just a random pick or a weird pick to me. I feel good doing it, so I'm going to give Jordan Fuller the vote here. That gives me one more. Comes down to Jordan Boyer, Kareem Jackson, Eddie Jackson, Jonathan Abram. Jonathan Abram, heavy hitter. Little raw still, in my opinion. He still has to develop a little bit in terms of everything he's doing. He's going to be a really good player. He's going to be a consistent Pro Bowl player in the future. I have no doubt about that. I just don't know about this year. Looking around, Jordan Poyer's up there as well. I'm going to give it to Abram. I'm going to roll with it. I like what he's done so far. There's still a lot of room for improvement, don't get me wrong, but I have faith that he will get there eventually. All right, free safety. Here we go. Justin Simmons and Minkah Fitzpatrick to me are locks. Fitzpatrick had a very slow start to the year. Was not playing well. Was not making the impact plays we saw last year. Even to this point here, he dropped an interception against the Baltimore Ravens this past week. He's had his struggles throughout the year, but still, a forced fumble, 4 interceptions. He's pretty good. I think he's worthy of a Pro Bowl bid. Even if he's not going to be a first-team All-Pro this year or All-Pro at all, I still don't think he's a Pro Bowler. Justin Simmons as well. Jesse Bates is one of the few positive defenders on the Cincinnati Bengals right now, so he deserves a bid. That leaves me with a bunch of names here. I got Devin McCourty, who I recognize. I got Darnell Savage, Marcus Williams. He's kind of inconsistent. Quandre Diggs is usually very good, but he's kind of underrated to a point where he doesn't make a Pro Bowl. Marcus May is very good. He's one of the few good defenders on the Jets right now, along with Quinn Williams. Antoine Winfield Jr. has kind of hit a little bit of a rookie wall here in the past couple of weeks, but he's had a very hot start to the year and probably still in the Defensive Rookie of the Year conversation. Below that, not really anyone striking me this year. You know, Justin Reed, ordinarily I'm very positive on him. So with Micah Hyde, but not so much this year. Kevin Byard is down here as well. Some names you might recognize. Logan Ryan. I got 3 more votes. What do I do with this? I'm going to take Julian Blackmon. He's been one of the most impactful players for Colts defense that's overperformed where it was ranked going into the year, along with DeForest Buckner and Darius Leonard. He's one of the key pieces of that team. It's part of the reason why the Colts should feel very good about their defense and building their defense moving forward. Next up, I'm taking Marcus May. This guy does everything for the Jets. He's trying to fill the shoes of Jamal Adams, his teammate who recently left. An interception, 28 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Florida product. I'm a big Florida fan. Marcus May is one of the best Florida DBs they've produced in years. And right now, if he was on a team other than Jets, if he was on a playoff caliber team, this guy would definitely be a slam dunk for to be a Pro Bowler. Unfortunately, he's on the Jets. The Jets are just a bad team right now. The fan base is kind of put off by the team. So he's probably not going to make the Pro Bowl, but to me, Marcus May is absolutely one of the 10 best free safeties in the NFL. And I think he's actually one of the 6 best safeties in the NFL this year at his position. He's going to be a Pro Bowler on my ballot, for at least, even if he doesn't get it in real life. My final vote really comes down between Devin McCourtney, Darnell Savage, and John Johnson. These 3 safeties are really at different points in their careers, honestly. John Johnson's kind of come out really out of nowhere and performing very well. Darnell Savage was a pretty high draft pick. Devin McCourtney is a veteran player. It's really different points of their careers, different points of their lives, but it's a tough vote for me. I'm having trouble picking which one I wanted to go with here. It was close between 2 young players, but I am going to go with John Johnson. I think he has outperformed where he was drafted to this point. And he is one of the better players on the Rams defense that's ranked 2nd in the NFL in a bunch of categories. So right now we're going to review my selections. Now we got through that. You can see here 6 players at every position on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not going to do special teams because I'm running out of battery and I just need to finish this video and not have my computer die on me before it's done. So maybe I'll do another video on that. Maybe I won't. We'll see. Depending on how this video goes or how many likes it gets. You know what? If we get 5 likes, just set the bar very low. We get 5 likes, I'll do a special teams vote and I'll do it like a 5 or 7 minute video on it. But here's my full ballot. Maybe some names you didn't expect on here. Maybe a lot of names you did. I think I could have done better picking defensive tackles. I think I liked my picks everywhere else. The outside linebacker spot was a little bit weird as well because I felt like there wasn't enough standout players in that position this year. I definitely snubbed a few guys at cornerbacker this year, some guys at linebacker as well, interior linebacker at the very least. You know, those inside linebackers that's stacked right now in the NFL. So I definitely missed guys like Fred Warner on that one. I do really like my safety selections. I will think that's one of my strongest areas right now. And like my defensive end selections, I think that's also one of my strongest categories. But there were some definitely players I missed. And if I missed anyone who you think was a slam dunk Pro Bowl or someone you will not see in the Pro Bowl, leave a comment. Tell me about it. Yell at me about it. I would appreciate any comments at this point. Even a down vote. A down vote would be something new. Just some interaction. I would appreciate it. But for now, guys, I'll be back for another video soon. I appreciate you stopping by. Make sure to check me out on Twitter at Sam_Teats33. I appreciate it. Feel free to check out any of our content on this channel. Whatever you can do, a view would be appreciated at this point. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. I'll talk to you all.